Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen The Incredibles 2. And I didn't love it just as much as I loved the original. I'll admit that. I thought the original was better. Very slightly. Now, it's a Pixar film. I think it's Pixar, whatever it is. And this particular production company always puts a short at the beginning of their movies. This one, I believe, is inspired by the Japanese horror film Dumpling and Dysfunctional Family. And they give you this is touted as being the darkest of the short films ever done by Pixar. But basically what happens is a mother has a dream about the mistakes she made as a mother. That's my interpretation of it. Go see it. It's weird. But on to The Incredibles 2, which picks up exactly at the end of The Incredibles 1 with the battle with the Underminer. So, you know, there's that. If you haven't seen The Incredibles 1, you're a little lost. And then the battle with the Underminer simply sparks the idea that we still don't like superheroes in this world. It's a little of a weak premise because at this point, you know, we have seen them, like, they didn't freak out and say, oh no, Syndrome, a new super, we don't want one of those around. Like, what was Syndrome exactly planning to do? And why is it nobody knows that superheroes were being bumped off in the first one? The lack of superheroes from them being killed off in the first one has not been addressed in this film. But yada yada yada, first act aside, the bureau that hides superheroes is being scrapped, and a company approaches the Incredible family, and they want to use Elastigirl, the mom, to increase the good feelings towards superheroes with the public. Yeah, okay. Again, the story, it feels like it started out being very, very predictable, and then moved along the lines to, like, okay, this is just too predictable, we have to change it a bit. So there's nothing particularly wrong with the plot, but if you've watched movies for more than a decade like I have, you kind of know what's coming. And it's not bad, because knowing what's coming is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not the what's coming, it's the how you get there. Now, I have to point out that, like, a lot of people have mentioned that Elastigirl, Mrs. Incredible, is a sex symbol. I personally don't see it. I listen to her voice. It sounds a bit older than she's depicted. And I would have to say, you know, how old is this woman? But that aside, the cartoon image looks about 35, has incredible curves, and the Incredible suit that's red is really, really good. She's very attractive in that. The suit she's running around in for most of the film, she's not so attractive in. So if your whole thing is you want to see how attractive Elastigirl is, this is not the movie for you. There are other things that kind of move into here. They've added the dynamic of vehicles. There is a vehicle for Elastigirl. There is a vehicle for Mr. Incredible. And these things, they're fine dynamics. I would, you know, it's like, yes, they save the day because they're useful to the hero, but one has to also point out that, well, does Mr. Incredible need a vehicle? That's like, you know, the Flash in certain iterations has a van. It's silly. And I will also have to point out that the glaring hole in the plot that's always going to be there is you have the character of Dash, who is, of course, their version of the Flash. And Dash, of course, once you get to the point where you're in the final act of this film, he really could just run around and do a certain thing and win the day, and that should have been it. So that's one of my questions, is how fast is Dash? Is he not fast enough so that he can outrun everybody? Can he not run up a wall with his speed? That's a really big question for me. And yes, you know, again, these questions are kind of nitpicks. The Incredibles is a great movie, and you're probably going to love it. I still say, you know, I was in there, the audience did not react as strongly to The Incredibles as they did to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, or even to Ant-Man and the Wasp. So yes, it is a good movie, it is a solid movie, it is an A- of a film. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard.